We are kicking off today with WWE NXT Roadblock as the show just got a major shakeup with reports that women's champion Giulia is dealing with an injury ahead of her match. On this week's NXT, it was announced that Giulia and women's North American champion Stephanie Vaquer will face off in a title-for-title clash at the March 11th show. PW Insider reports that Giulia is nursing an injury, and while specifics about her condition aren't known, she's expected to take some time off after the match. The exact details of the injury will be shared as and when they are available, but news of a hiatus for Giulia certainly puts her reign as NXT Women's Champion in jeopardy. With a title-for-title stipulation, signs are pointing to Giulia dropping her title to Vaquer at Roadblock, but plans are always subject to change in WWE. In the main event of NXT, Ricky Saints and Javon Evans faced off against Ethan Page and Wes Lee, and a fan chant of "Tony Fumbled" was noticed by people online. While speaking on the hump, Sean Ross Sapp shared that those in AEW couldn't care less about the chant, and there was no major discussion about what the fans had to say. AEW sources were indifferent and more focused on preparing on this week's Dynamite, with the overall sentiment being that it wasn't a big deal to them. Ricky Saints was successful in his WWE NXT in-ring debut, and fans were thrilled, with expectations high for him after spending much of his final year in AEW going unused. Tony Khan hasn't reacted to the chants, but it's clear WWE fans want to see Ricky Saints' debut as a big deal, and they want AEW to know all about it. As Intercontinental Champion Bron Breakker has had a huge target on his back with teased feuds with the likes of AJ Styles and Finn Balor. As one of Raw's top stars, Breakker is expected to have a huge role at what will be his first WrestleMania, but what's in store for the second-generation superstar? While speaking during a recent Backstage Pass Q&A, WrestleVotes shared that he'd heard that WWE is discussing a multi-man match for Breakker, similar to past WrestleMania events. WWE has used this format for the Intercontinental and Tag Team titles in the past, and having multiple challengers would put Breakker at a distinct disadvantage. Styles and Balor could just be two names set to challenge Braun, and fans can't count out Sheamus wanting the Grand Slam, or Penta seeking his first title on WWE's biggest stage. Time will tell if Breakker does indeed have multiple challengers for his title this April, but if so, Braun's WrestleMania debut could be a rough night at the office for the IC champion. Do you like the idea of Bron Breakker defending the Intercontinental Championship in a multi-man match, or should it be one-on-one at WrestleMania? Who would you like to see challenge Bron for the title this April? Share your thoughts on all these questions down in our comments. Now, the February 19th Dynamite delivered plenty of memorable moments, but not everything on the show went off without a hitch. One segment between Thunder Rosa and Megan Bayne drew major criticism from fans, and now the real story behind this situation has come to light. Fightful reports that a confusing sequence took place following Chris Statlander's match as Penelope Ford arrived to assist Bayne, prompting Thunder Rosa to arrive with a chair. Instead of reacting accordingly, though, Bayne and Ford were unfazed by the chair-wielding Rosa, resulting in the ex-women's champion hesitating, creating the awkward moment. Rumors spread among fans that Bayne and Ford had gone into business for themselves, but sources within AEW dismissed the notion. On Busted Open Radio, Thunder Rosa shared her side of things, stating that safety is always her top priority in AEW, sometimes at the expense of her own well-being. Reflecting on the awkward segment, Rosa said that it was a learning experience and reminded her of the importance of preparation and clear communication before a match or segment. After the incident, several veterans and colleagues offered Rosa guidance, and she was grateful for that, and Rosa denied speculation that there was potential backstage drama and tensions. Instead, she shared that AEW's locker room has a supportive environment where talent improve together, and while mistakes happen, the focus is on learning and progressing as a team. Did you catch the awkward moment during Thunder Rosa's segment? Do you think AEW needs to tighten its backstage coordination? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Over to AEW Dynamite as the show opened with Cope arriving in an ambulance and promising that the vehicle was for the Death Riders. Hangman Adam Page was also seen arriving in a truck and headed straight to the ring for his match, where he made quick work of Aaron Solo. Page proceeded to call out MJF, who told Page he needed to check in on his friend, and AEW's cameras found a bloodied Christopher Daniels backstage. Page would race backstage and find Daniels and called on officials to check on him before starting his pursuit of MJF, furious at what had happened. It was somewhat awkward that no one came to check on Daniels before the Cowboy demanded it, but the story was clear that Page cares about the fallen angel. Page remains the reluctant hero with a hidden heart of gold, while MJF is willing to do whatever it takes to make a point, including altering his body. In a pre-taped interview from earlier in the day, MJF said he was done believing in AEW and shared that he had gotten his AEW tattoo removed. This was a strong, if predictable, follow-up ahead of Revolution, where Page and MJF should deliver an excellent, story-driven match. Cope and Claudio Castagnoli brawled their way to the ring before Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir arrived to help Castagnoli handle the Rated R superstar. Jay White soon joined the fight, followed by Willow Nightingale, and with Jon Moxley looking on in horror, Cope and Willow hit concertos on Castagnoli and Shafir. This followed on from Cope's promise to dismantle the Death Riders, and now there's just Wheeler Yuta left to stand between the Canadian and the AEW World Champion. The standout moment of this segment was Willow's arrival, finally getting some revenge against Shafir after being attacked the past 2 weeks. Cope, Willow, and White helped close up the ambulance with Shafir and Castagnoli in the back, a callback to the WWE Hall of Famer's arrival at Dynamite. The crowd was behind Cope, as they will be at Revolution, but now the match will need to deliver at the pay-per-view to justify the Death Riders being AEW's top storyline. Swerve Strickland presented Ricochet with an opportunity to step back in the ring with the mogul, with the winner earning the #1 contender spot for the AEW World Championship. Ricochet accepted the challenge but insisted the match take place at Revolution, and Prince Nana asked Swerve to retrieve his robe or he may not be around for much longer. Strickland advised Ricochet that they were done when he says they're done, making clear that Swerve's issues with the one and only are far from over. This was a smart way to justify Ricochet agreeing to a match while also setting the stage for the next contender in the AEW World title scene. Swerve didn't say much but let his clear hatred for Ricochet come through in every word, while Ricochet spoke too much and leaned on the generic sports team insults. Nana was the standout as he said all the key story beats, and for him to ask Swerve to do something for him reflects an important shift in their dynamic fans will have to keep an eye on. With the international title on the line in the main event, Orange Cassidy fought Konosuke Takeshita with a fire to become a 3-time champion, but it wasn't meant to be. Instead, Takeshita proved too strong and defeated Cassidy in a match of 2 of AEW's absolute best, stealing the show and delivering the best in-ring encounter by far of the night. The crowd were hooked on every near fall, an impressive feat given the 1-week build to this title match, but OC came across as the strongest threat to Takeshita's title reign. Amid the hard-hitting action, there were fun spots, including Takeshita crushing Cassidy's sunglasses, only for the cool wrestler to pull out a second pair. Takeshita then stole them and gave them to Don Callis, who was on commentary, and when the OC got his glasses back for a dive, Takeshita flattened his challenger with a right hand in the air. This match would have fit nicely on any AEW pay-per-view, and now it's up to Kenny Omega to reach the high bar set by this match when he faces Takeshita at Revolution. At his best, Omega can do exactly that, though the story, both on TV and in real life, is that Omega is not at his best, raising questions about the upcoming title match. Against Cassidy, Takeshita was the perfect heel and ruthless in his efforts, and he needs to bring that energy to his match with the Cleaner next month. Former WWE Women's Champion Jazz was a major star in the early to mid-2000s, and while she hasn't wrestled for WWE for a long time, she now has a new role in TNA Wrestling. Sean Ross Sapp reports that Jazz has been working as an agent at recent TNA tapings, including the latest set of tapings from Full Sail University. Jazz competed for TNA earlier this month, her first match in over 3 years, and whether she wrestles again or not, the powerhouse is playing a key role for TNA behind the scenes. Since 2018, WWE has worked closely with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to produce massive events in the nation, but this partnership is set to undergo a major change. Typically, WWE hosts 2 PLE in Saudi Arabia every year, but during WWE's 2024 earnings call, TKO CFO Andrew Schleimer shared that just one event will happen in 2025. Schleimer acknowledged that this will mean WWE will make $55 million less on the Saudi deal this year, as the promotion is paid a massive amount per event it holds in the country. While fans in Saudi Arabia may be disappointed over the 2025 schedule, it was confirmed that WWE will host 3 Saudi shows in 2026, including the Royal Rumble. WWE is yet to share details about its 2025 event, but this will be the only Saudi Arabia show of the year, in a notable change to how WWE has typically handled this relationship. In 2013, Trish Stratus was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and now the Canadian wrestling legend has another induction in the works. PW Insider reports that Trish is set to be inducted into the International Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame class of 2025, with the ceremony set to take place on October 12th. This year marks 25 years since Stratus first appeared in WWE, and between this induction and her role at Elimination Chamber, Stratusfaction is going strong all these years after her debut. In 2024, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre delivered plenty of verbal barbs against one another, with one of the deepest cuts coming during the March 25th edition of Raw in Chicago, Illinois. On the show, McIntyre bragged about always being the chosen one, to which Punk sarcastically questioned what paragon of good virtue gave Drew that moniker. The answer to Punk's question is Vince McMahon, though both men avoided mentioning the controversial ex-chairman by name, and McIntyre was at a rare loss for words. Speaking to Inside the Ropes this week, though, Drew shared that he did have an answer for Punk's question, as he would have said, "The same person that fired you on your wedding day." Punk was indeed given his termination papers on his wedding day in 2014, though McMahon would later say this was a sad coincidence and even apologized on the Stone Cold podcast. McIntyre added that at this point in the feud, fans were seeing that he was capable on the mic and that he could go toe-to-toe with anyone, even the best in the world. Punk and McIntyre will meet in the men's elimination chamber this weekend, and after their war in 2024, expect physical and verbal blows between the two in Toronto's Rogers Centre. More from Dynamite now, as the Murder Machines were rolling in their match with the Outrunners, but when Lance Archer had Turbo Floyd poised for the blackout, the Hurt Syndicate's theme hit. This distraction allowed Floyd to get the roll-up win to end what was a basic match with some awkwardly slow pacing, but helped by the invested crowd. The Outrunners are poised to get an AEW World Tag Team title shot, something that Floyd and Truth Magnum deserve given their steady character work over the latter half of 2024. AEW even showed the Outrunners' appearance on SportsCenter, where they had hyped up the University of Omaha basketball team, showing how much charisma the group has. This messy finish of the match also means that fans can expect Archer and Brian Cage in the title picture soon enough, which will help build a tag division in need of a variety of challengers. Now the odds of the Outrunners dethroning Lashley and Benjamin are slim, but their feud could deliver a memorable story of the popular pair trying to pull off a massive upset. At Don Callis' request, Brian Keith tried to hurt Will Ospreay throughout their match, but the Brit landed a Styles Clash and Hidden Blade for the win. Ospreay made his way through the crowd to brawl with Kyle Fletcher until security intervened, adding another layer to their showdown at Revolution. This match lacked drama and the result was obvious, but it was about as good as it gets, with Keith and Offspring flowing well with each other in the ring. The goal of this match was to deliver excitement to the crowd while also furthering Ospreay's feud with Callis and Fletcher, and in that regard, it was a runaway success. Ospreay vs. Fletcher has every chance to steal the show at Revolution, with the history between the two and the skills of both men promising an incredible match at the pay-per-view. Outside his private locker room, Chris Jericho revealed that he was helping Callis deal with Ospreay, meaning fans could see more of Jericho vs. Ospreay in the near future. In trios action between the Undisputed and FTR with Daniel Garcia, Adam Cole reversed a piledriver into a stack-up pin on Garcia to get the surprise win. Trios action is often where AEW thrives, and this was a clear example of that, with the fast-paced, hard-hitting action showcase the chemistry of everyone involved. After the match, Cole and Garcia barely stopped FTR, Kyle, and Strong from coming to blows again, a sign of the intensity of everyone in the match. It was a delight to see FTR back in the ring as they elevated the intensity of the match, though the booking of the contest felt somewhat awkward. While Garcia and FTR have teamed before, there was no clear reason for them to align in this match, and both are in fact part of separate trios AEW has highlighted only recently. AEW has yet to explain why Rated FTR are no longer on TV, despite theirs being a more natural trio, and FTR have been focused on the AEW World Tag titles, not the trios titles. Nevertheless, this match set up a TNT Championship match on Collision between Garcia and Cole in what'll be a fine match, but one that could do with a more cohesive storyline. Harley Cameron fought from behind before getting the victory on Deonna Purrazzo in a solid but unspectacular contest between the two women. Solid but unspectacular has defined the Virtuosa's entire AEW run to date, as she's yet to find that story and spark that made her a great heel in TNA wrestling. The crowd were behind Cameron, and Purrazzo played well into that and kept the heat going before Cameron got a needed win after her setback in Australia. The job now is for Cameron to continue winning against big names, as she has the popularity right now for AEW to justify her beating just about anyone, even Mercedes Moné. While Cameron's moveset remains limited for the most part, she is getting certain moves over, including her Shining Wizard that fans always pop to see. As for Purrazzo, she and the Vendetta need a hard reset, and perhaps adding some more members to her group will help, followed by her getting some desperately needed wins. And that was this week's AEW Dynamite, and what did you make of the show? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Now, TKO Group Holdings may be best known for WWE, but its reach extends far beyond the squared circle, with UFC and professional bull riding also under its banner. Despite WWE and UFC occasionally crossing paths, all three brands have yet to converge under the same spotlight until now. This April, TKO is set to bring its full arsenal to Kansas City, Missouri in a landmark event that will see WWE, UFC, and PBR take center stage. In an official announcement, TKO revealed plans to host 3 back-to-back events at Kansas City's T-Mobile Center between April 24th and April 28th. The action-packed lineup kicks off with PBR, followed by a UFC Fight Night, and culminates with a live edition of WWE Raw. This historic triple-header comes as part of a collaboration between TKO and the Kansas City Sports Commission. This is a unique opportunity to showcase these 3 premier properties in one city at the same time for the benefit of fans and visitors to the area. "We thank the Kansas City Sports Commission and the management at T-Mobile Center for making this possible," TKO stated in the press release. For WWE, the timing of this Raw is particularly significant. As the second episode following WrestleMania 41 on April 19th and 20th, it could serve as a pivotal moment in shaping the Red Brand's direction for the remainder of 2025. With all eyes on Kansas City, TKO's groundbreaking showcase promises to be a must-watch moment in sports and entertainment.